Welcome to the Essential Therapies podcast. Dr. Cindy here, and I am doing another road reflection on my country commute into the studio today. We are going to be talking about the calm technique, continuing on with the letter A. So C was for connect. If you missed that episode, I encourage you to go back one episode and listen to that, where I talk about how important it is to connect to the body and to begin this calm technique that I came up with to help my patients kind of really experience self-treatment the way I have found incredible relief with doing my own self-treatment every single day. And it starts with connecting to our bodies. And then A is assess. So I decided to make assessment next because it's really what I do to decide what technique I am going to use in my self-treatment that day. So, for example, if we don't know what's going on in our bodies, if we don't assess it, then how can we make a change? John Barnes has a saying that I think of every day: without awareness, there is no choice. So this assessment also helps us become aware. So actually, there's another A for you right there. So how do we assess our bodies? Now, as a physical therapist, we learn in school, of course, how to evaluate and treat. And a big part of our evaluation is assessment. So we will do things such as check range of motion of the joints, check strength, check gait, the person's ability to move around in bed, go from sit to stand, those kinds of things. So what I want you to start doing is to think about, what is going on in my body now that you're connected? What is moving? What isn't moving well? Where do I feel tensions or pulling or discomforts? Anything that is of note. So you may need to do some things such as the arm and leg lengtheners, which I teach quite a bit. You might need to just move your arms around, move your legs around. I begin this first thing in the morning when I wake up. I connect into my body. I'm assessing, okay, what's going on? What do I feel? To be honest, sometimes I wake up and everything is screaming at me, and I start there. I go into some lengthening. I feel what part of my body is tighter than another part of my body. I will then change some movement. I will create another position, see where that goes, and just assess in a left brain perspective what's going on. So let's talk about John Barnes' Channel 3 and Channel 5, because this is the other reason why I chose assessment next, and that is connecting with our intellectual side, our Channel 5, if you will. So over 50 years ago, when John Barnes started teaching this work, he knew it was important for people to be in their bodies, and so to really feel what was going on. He coined that Channel 3. And being in our intellectual brain and thinking instead of feeling, he coined that Channel 5, just arbitrary numbers. But thinking of how we had televisions back then, and that was pretty much for technology other than a radio, it was about tuning into that channel, right? So if you're tuning into Channel 3, you're being in the present moment, you're feeling inside your body. I think of it as also coming from the heart center. And also Channel 3, to me, 3 means connecting mind, body, spirit. Channel 5, more left brain, more in your head. So this assessment is more of a Channel 5 activity. We are just taking note. And if we don't take note at the beginning of our self-treatment, how can we compare at the end of our self-treatment? So that is super important. Assessing and seeing what's going on. Now, once we kind of feel into this assessment and know what we are lacking or what is talking to us, then we can choose what self-treatment technique to do. Now, how do we know what that is, even if we know what body part is bothering us or is talking to us? And that really is where it becomes more of an art. And sometimes it can be a little tricky, but I like to approach it with a sense of curiosity. And John also talks about the curiosity of a cat, like as therapists, coming into the room with a sense of curiosity and connecting with our patient and and really being curious about what does their body need, what is it asking for. And that's what I do in my own self-treatment. I'm being curious about this assessment and what technique can I use and what is that going to do. It really takes time, and it takes really an attention to being connected to this idea of self-treatment and actually doing it to be able to find your niche, so to speak, in what works for you. So I often say, we put together our programs based on what it is our bodies need, and we only know that until we try it. When my kids were little and they didn't want to eat something because they thought they might not like it, my response would be, how do you know if you like this or not unless you try it, right? So same thing with self-treatment. How do we know what this is going to do if we don't try it? And then sometimes we'll try something one time and think that that's okay, that didn't work. That's not what I'm talking about. We really need to give this work a try for more than just one or two or a few times. And it really needs to be consistent. I see this a lot with my patients where they know what part of their body is bothering them. They know what the assessment is. And so they'll go on a suggestion to do this technique or that technique. And they might do it once or twice, or they might do it 1 week, maybe 3 or 4 times. And then the next week they fall off and maybe do it once or twice. That really isn't going to give you a good idea as to what that technique can really do for you. So you really need to try lots of different things, assess and feel into it before and after to know what it's doing. And every day might be a little different, but you're going to find patterns that work for you. I use a lot of techniques that are kind of global, so it does a lot of things at once. And just with the fascia being continuous through every cell of the body, that I think is really very important. One example of that is my Legs Up the Wall series. Now, the Legs Up the Wall does a lot, but it doesn't do everything. So if you're only doing Legs Up the Wall and you've got some issues going on in your upper body, your shoulder blades, let's say, and your chest or your head or your neck, you're definitely getting into those areas with that series of techniques, but you might need you need something else. Something with another tool perhaps, or just another position, or bringing awareness into your body and creating a position where you feel those tensions and so on. So there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to how we actually treat once we know what we're going to treat and as we stay connected in our bodies. So that's assessment from the Calm technique. Stay tuned for the next podcast, which will be on listening, the L. And the listening part is bringing in channel 3. So assessment, channel 5. Listening is channel 3. Thanks so much for listening, and please share with someone else who might be able to benefit from this. We appreciate you subscribing to our channel, and remember, you are creating tomorrow's body today. Have a great day.